Here he comes. Lovely base on Kov Chesam base. Arba Achi, this happens to be a very, very weird Gemara. Am I allowed to say weird?
Sure.
Okay. Arba Achi, 4 brothers, Nesuyin L'arba Nashim, were married to four women. Umesu, and they all die. And there's a 5th brother. Imrat HaGorosh, if the remaining oldest brother wants Miyab School, he can be Miyab all of them because they're all from 4 different brothers. Or Shus Biyado, he has permission to do so. If he's married to 2 women, Umeis, in other words, the brother was married to 2 women and he died. Biyasa Chalitzasa Shel Achas Mehem, the Biyar Chalitza performed one of them. Poter Saros exempts the co-wife. If one was a kosher co-wife and one was a pasul co-wife, then if you choose the chalitza, so it's better to do it to the chalitza psula, the one who's already pasul, so she doesn't get any additional deficit by chalitza. If he's miyam, of course he takes one who's kosher, because you don't want him to admit the same aver as deceased brother of living with somebody who's forbidden to him, so therefore you take the one which is permitted. Dilma, we have a Maisa, a story. Klas Osar Achin Havion, there were 13 brothers. Umesin Train Osar, and 12 of them died, the low Banin, and without any kids. Asyun Bon Misyabma, Kume Rebbe. So they came, and the 12 widows, and they wanted to undergo Yibum. They came before Rebbe. Amalei Rebbe, so Rebbe said to the guy, the remaining brother, "Hey, Habib, take all 12 of them." Amalei, so he said, "Leis v'cheli, I don't have the power to do so."
He'll be 13 to die.
V'hei mamros. So each of the Yevamos said, each one of them, I undertake to sustain the household for 1 month a year. Okay? I guess, they worked. Okay? Amar, so the Yovam said, nah. Uman Zayin Hahu Yachli Bura, who's paying for the leap month?
I was just going to say that about the house when it's a leap month.
I am not making up this Gemara, right? I see I'm not making this up.
He's not volunteering either.
My Rabbi. Rabbi said, I'll pay for the leap month. Nutzali Aleon, he davened for them, and they went away. Besides Lashnin, after 3 years later, they came bearing 36 children, right? Because each one had 1 child per year. So that's 36. She is 36. So, so they came and took up locations outside Rebbe's house. So they went up and told Rebbe, Lura, outside Kiryat de Menukin, there's a village of nursing babies. Boy and Michelle Shama want to come and inquire after your health. So Rebbe peeked out the window of the Chamsun and he saw them. So he said to them, what's doing with you? So they said to him, we want you to give us a Bura for the leap month, because this is, I guess, the first year when there was a leap year. So they were asking for the for the money. So so he gave them the sustenance for leap month, and that is the end of the story. They lived happily ever after. Okay, says Gemara.
This didn't make it into the Bible.
I don't know why this is made in the Bible.
The element that is missing is some fantastic thing that he davened for them and whatever. Yeah.
It's just taken as a matter of factly.
Right.
Okay. See, it says Vayasher Baron Hashem im Oved Edom. The Aron of God was with Oved Edom beveso in his house Shlosha Chodashim for 3 months. Vayivarach Hashem v'gomer. Hashem blessed him. How had he blessed him? With Banim, with kids. Hadod, you'll see this that which it says called Elam Imnei Oved Edom All these are children of Ovid Edom Hema, Uvineim and their children, Va'achem and their brothers, Ish Chayil B'koach, a mighty people with power, Lavo to work, it should be Shishim Ushnaim, 62. Okay, Begom etc. So Edom, Ovid Edom Agiti to begin with, had 8 kids. So the Abbas called Charamin Yolda Trey B'chol Yarcha. So within those 3 months that he had the ornated by him, so miraculously his children each had 2 children themselves per month. Okay, it's that also. Tameo Shiva, their wives would tell me for 7 days. With Tara Shiva, and then she was starved for 7 days. Violetus, and the whole gestation period took 7 days. It's a miraculous thing. Tameo Shiva, and then again she was told me for 7 days. The Torah Shiva, and she was told for 7 days. Violetus and give birth. So that means that there were 2 births a month. The old Shitzar L'chol Yerech, 16 a month. The Kloster Yorchin for 3 months. Haraboin V'Tamnaya, that's 48. V'hu, and he, it should be Shisa, he himself had 6 kids in this period. Chamisha V'Arba, it's 54. V'Tamnisun, and count V'Tamnuseon, and those 8 which were already his children, are Ashtin V'Taratre, so 62 altogether. Although the see that's not what it says. Shishim Vishnayim 62. Lovid Edom Agiti Ovid Edom had during a short amount of time. Ravada Bar Zavdo says, Ksiv, it says, V'nikro Shmo B'Yisrael Beis Chalutza now. And it says that the person who does Chalitza, it's called his house is called the house of the undone shoe. The house is permitted with 1 chalitza that works in order to get them exempt, right? Bia came. So too, by Bia it's the same thing. 1 Bia does the trick. Chalitza poter, ubia poter. Just a chalitza exempts, so to Bia exempts. Just like you said by Chalitza, so too it's by Bia and vice versa.
Why is the Gemara mentioning this? Isn't this so kind of review?
What?
Isn't this all review? Why is the Gemara going on?
Do we have that explicitly already? Or did we just mention it?
It's understood about Chalitza is exempts, and then Bia is the same as
well, we had it?
No?
Maybe just talk about it. We definitely did talk about it. We definitely did.
Okay, I don't remember what we did, but anyway, I think it was probably brought down for the next Gemara. Come on, Maularim, can one play a trick? Now, this is interesting one. Everybody goes crazy trying to understand what trick we're trying to play. Let's take the Glen Ephraim's trick. He says, the halacha according to Yerushalmi, although we don't pass this way, is that a woman who's a Yevama, Shomeres Yavam, can eat truma as long as she hasn't been yet claimed by somebody or rejected by somebody. In other words, let's say she was married to a Kohen, and now the Kohen dies, she can still eat
or maybe because of the Zika
truma.
of her brother?
Because of Zika, right. So the question is, how many Zikas can the brother-in-law actually maintain as a legal fiction in order to give them truma to eat? That's really what it boils down to. Okay? Is that permissible or is that not permissible, to what extent? So the says more, look, the Rabbi Tarfon Avim Shel Kol Yisrael, Rabbi Tarfon, the father of all Jews, Lo Yerim, didn't he play tricks? How did that work? Kidei Sholosh Mils Nashim B'Meira Avon. He married 300 women at the time of a famine. So he could eat truma. Okay, so they were. He actually married them with kiddushin, without chuppah, in order they should be able to eat truma. So we see that it's potentially mutter to produce results, to do a ruse in order to do so. Is that clear? I make that clear? He may betroth them, but didn't actually marry them. And there were 310 of them. So here too, same with the Yevamos. He should be able to allow them to eat truma as long as he hasn't actually chosen any one of them. So it says more. No, it's different. There isn't each one of them suitable to eat truma. After all, if she does fulfill the marriage with him, she can eat truma, right? Even though she's not going to do so. So that's enough. But however, here you think each one is suitable to miyavim, they're mutually exclusive, right? You can only do one yibum. You can't do more than one, right? You can.
Yeah, but until that yibum is done, don't they all equally have the same seed?
No,
the same potential.
Because but retroactively, once you do yibum to one, so the whole, so everything falls off. So that's why it's not comparable, right? You can't do yibum each and every one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what he says. Is it possible to do yibum? So therefore, you can't pull the same rules, because by marriage you could say I could have married all of them, right? Yeah. But by yibum can't say you can't do every one, because once you do one, you can't do the others anymore, right? So therefore, they're not comparable cases. Nevertheless, Rabbi Shmuel Amar, Avdin Lokain, he did by Yibum the same thing, that one Yavam could allow multiple Yavamas to eat Truma, even though, of course, when he ultimately chooses one, it'll be only that one to the exclusion of all others. But right now, he can allow multiple ones to eat Truma. Because they can't be married to him. He's a Kohen. They're not Kohanos.
Oh, okay.
They're marrying Kohen, right?
So they can only marry one.
Right, he can only marry one. Hamarsis Grushaso, somebody who returns his Grusha. Now, this is after, of course, she's divorced. Vano says Chalutzaso. And somebody who marries his Chalutza. Vano says Krovas Chalutzaso. And so he marries a relative of his Chalutza. Yoti Bava Mamzer. He has to divorce the wife, and the kid is a mamzer. Now, this is talking about going to Korbaneda, therefore, that you take back your divorcee after she married somebody else. And therefore she's forbidden to go back to you. So this is all Rabbi Kiva, because Rabbi Kiva says if you transgress a law, you're ready to chayev in mamzer. You're ready to have mamzer's penalties. All right? Rabbi Kiva, that's the Rabbi Kiva. Chachamim ein mamzer. I'm sorry, that's good. Ein avla mamzer. The kid is not mamzer. What would create mamzer? We'll see in a moment, right? Modim benoses kruvas krushas chalutzos. However, everybody agrees that if you marry the relative of your divorcee, that shavla mamzer, that the child is a mamzer. Okay. So it says where Chia B'Shem said, "Hamartir gushaso mishanisa ispos minakuna." If you take back your divorcee after she's married to somebody else, so you make her possible for the kuna. But lo kachena psula min kuna. I don't say isn't he anyway possible min kuna? After all, he's what? What? Yeah, he's forbidden to take her back. El psula milachol truma. Rather, so what does it mean? She's possible from truma, not just from marrying another Kohen, but from eating truma. Rabbi Tzir and Rabbi Chia B'Shem said, "A mavser gushas mishnisa is somebody who takes back his wife after she's married somebody else, which is forbidden. Pitok shel kuna, nevertheless, the daughter from the first husband, and the woman is kosher l'kuna, married Kohen, not a chol. Says Gemara, my time of why? Kitovas he toiva ve'enav la toiva. So here it says kitovas Hashem he, and she is what will transgress toiva, but not the kid, and then therefore the kid is not a
the kid is a product of a kosher marriage.
How so?
Isn't it? I'm misunderstanding it. Isn't it the vlad is from the first marriage?
We don't know. No DNA test in the old days.
They would?
No DNA test.
Oh, right.
So we know
also
what's
self and I see.
Yeah, the question is how to resolve sulfate.
So it's a matzi mecharer all of the raya.
Well, that only works by Dini Mumbles. I didn't want to play it here. Any ideas?
It's true. So that has monetary.
But what's bothering you? I don't understand what's
No,
bothering you.
I thought it was a definite vadai that the Vlad was from the first marriage.
Mm-hmm. No, we don't know for sure. Says Gemara. Well, the point is, even from a second marriage, it's not a mamzer. That's really what the point is. Is that not? The point is that even because it's not the regular type issue, which generates mamzerus. Okay. Vezu mamzer. Who's a mamzer? Kosher basar. Any relative, Shublo Yavo, where there's a lav involved, if Rabbi Akiva, that makes a mamzerus. Shimon HaTeimoni Omer Kol Shechayev Lo Kreis B'nei Shamayim. It's not just enough that there's a negative command involved, but it has to be that the penalty listed by the Torah is Kores. I lost my place. V'alokin v'arlos like Shimon signing. Yerushalmi say money. Shimon Yerushalmi kol ha'shechayev l'misas beis, only in which Yechayev misas beis, only then is their mamzer. Thank you. Amar Shimon Yazai. Matzatzik as Yilsim Yerushalayim. I found a book of Yichus Yerushalayim because the one it said there, Ish Ploni Mamzer, Me Eshes Ish. So and so was a mamzer because he had a relationship, a liaison, or rather, his father had a liaison with a woman who's already married. The kind of Rabbi Yeshua that's the same as Rabbi Yeshua, there has to be a capital crime involved. Okay, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chanina, Amar V'kulim Eishasav Lamdu. They all learn from the pasuk Eishasav. Lo yikach ishes isha v'lo yalek knaf avihi. Right. I forget how to start that from here.
Rush is mentioned where we keep it over.
Oh, Darash is about to say. Okay, you're right. Rabbi Akiva Darash Ma Eishasav Yucheres, just like his father's wife is unique. Shahi below Yavo, that you're not allowed to come to call. That's what it says about her. Havla Mamzer, and the child is a Mamzer. Yeah, one second. I guess someone doesn't refute it here. Yeah, give it a Ishma Ishes on Yucheshi below Yavo. Avla Mamzer. Avkoshu below Yavo, Avla Mamzer. And then with the lab, there's a Mamzer's issue. Says Umar, Esivun. One second. It's a real one of the Kohen Gadol. It's also labs, according to Rabbi Akiva, there should be mamzerus there. One marries a Kohen Gadol. So, no, Shani Shapirish Balkasel Chalol. There, the Torah says explicitly that the progeny that uses a Chalol, not a mamzer. So, it says, well, Shimon money, but well, says, well, Shimon Darash, Ma'esha Sod Michesh Chayav of Kares B'dei Shamayim, just like your father's wife Chayav on a Kares B'dei Shamayim, there's of heaven, of La Mamzer, therefore the kid is a Mamzer. So therefore, the same thing anywhere else where you have those conditions. So Esimun Arei Nida, What about a nida? Why is the kid not a mamzer in relations with the nida? She seems to have all these preconditions. Shani shein kosovo sherbal. So nida is different. It doesn't say anything there about relationships. Okay. Rabbi Yoshua. So well, it's more. It doesn't have relationships. It means that it's not usher because of.
It's not a familial relationship.
Yes.
It's not Easter.
All right. Rabbi Shua Darash Ma'esh Asam Yuched Shechev Lamisas Beistin. Rabbi Shua takes a step further. So the Mishnah says, anytime you're Chayav Misas Beistin, then the Vlad is Mamzer. Of course, Misas Beistin of Vlad Mamzer. Afalgad Rabbi Shumer Habal Achos Havlad Kosher. So here's the interesting thing. Even though Rabbi Shua says he was the first name, right? So even though he says that somebody has relations with his sister of Vlad Kosher, the kid is okay. He agrees that if the kid was a nekeva, was a female, that she's not allowed to serve as a kohen. Of course not. She's not allowed to marry a kohen, right? Sorry about that. 1 second. Yeah, so chalolus there is in any event. Even though mamzerus is not going to be unless there's a misas basic or Rebbe Shua, chalolus will be even with the chai of koris, of course, because even among the kohen gadol, where there's no koris involved, generates, mamzer, generates chol. So certainly chol will be relevant to this issue as well. Okay? So it says more, Afagar Rabbi Shimon, Yudim Rabbi Shimon, even though Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon, it says, Goy ve'eved shabo bas Yisrael. If a guy or a slave has relations with a non-Jewish, with a Jewish girl, Avlad kosher, the kid is okay. Moedishim, my son, a keva, they agree that if she was female, shehi pesula minakol, that she can't serve as kohen.
I understand the phrase in the cable.
What?
Of course she's in the cable. No, if the child is in the cable.
Yeah. Child's keva, she
the offspring is
chalola
to marry
a kohen. Even though the boy can, but the girl can't.
Why is that? Because the child is Jewish anyway.
Yeah, but it's a chalolos.
What is it?
What? A damage to the kid. Chalom means literally a vacated spot. So there's something wrong with the kid, right?
Do we paskin like this?
I don't remember. I think so. But I don't remember. Says some individual said to came from Rabami. He said, "Begin to lead us ima since my mother gave birth to me." The who gaver from a Goyish kid. What's my status? Goyish man. So what's my status? Armaloi. So she said to him, kosher. Armaloi Rav Chama Bar Guria. Hachta Ma'ich Reglach. So Rav Chama Bar Guria said, run away. Gather your legs and run away. Ad loy say Shmuel, because before Shmuel comes and says you're puzzled, because he holds Eved Goya Boal Bas Yisrael Vlad Mamzer. I've grabbed Rab Omar Goy Eved Boal Bas Yisrael Vlad Kosher, and the Rab says okay. Midishi my son Nekeva, Modishi my son Nekeva, she psula minakuna. So he too agrees that if she's Nekeva, then he's exempt from the kuna. Okay. Now says Gemara. Umaro Lomar Locha Kerbishim Be'atayimoni. One second. Yeah, why do we pass like Rishim Taimani that you only get Malchus? We've been saying we have Kares on the intentional. And we don't have One second.
Moshe explains it.
Yeah, what did Rabbi Yehuda say?
It says, Ma Roy says, Vilna b'kares deishasov.
Yeah.
Lomi misa deishasov to Rabbi Yeshua. Why do we say that why do we say kares is the one that caused the mamzeris? Why don't we say that the misa is
like the view of Rabbi Yeshua is the one that would cause the mamzeris?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Basically, it's a Bavli kind of question. Why are we disagreeing with the other Mandiomer?
Okay. So it says, I'm Rabbi Yisrael Chania. Mako Shechlu Kol Rice across. I'll tell you why. Place all the rights are mentioned for Kares. Yotza Eshasav Lamed Chol Mamzer. All of a sudden you have Eshasav stick up to each other Mamzer, right? So this tells us that that the mamzer is determined by chayav creases. Okay? Says what? Mechavish tells Rabbi Yisrael Merchanina. There's a contradiction is Merchanina. Tam Yod Lamikola. From there, he learns up from Cloud. Vacho Yod Lamipot. He learns it from the prat, from the generality to specification. The time learned mitzvah Hashem. It says mitzvah Kodesh Baruch Hu. Ha'isi Omer Af. Also, people who creepy, crawly things are involved, right? In the mitzvah of Kodesh Baruch Hu. Why not? Arei Adon, so therefore he makes Yerushalmi. Nemakan me'einei, it says me'einei over here. Now over here is by the chatos brought by the community, right? V'nemar also says lahalom by the chat of the chait of the community. Avoni ma avoni shenemar lalon davashchem zona karshu gosu karzersa but avodazora, and it says that. Excuse me.
Both eine.
What did I say? Oh, that's because I'm falling asleep. Nemar kan me'ene v'nemar lalon me'ene. Mine shenemar lalam davashchem and avshikagosu chatos dona kares, right? So the classic archetypical korban mention is that brought for Avodah Zarah, right? So ma inish nemalhan davish chema shigos l'chatas don't chayiv if you didn't intentionally korres. Av ma inish nemar council to here it says in over here chayno zono korres shigos l'chatas only that type which requires additional efforts. So it says the Gemara, Iman ma eine shenema la'alon sheish b'mitzvahs basin. Wait a minute, but we know that for Avodah Zarah you get killed, right? Eine shenema kan davar sheish b'mitzvahs basin. Maybe the whole cheshbon is also only made here in a place where place where there's mitzvahs based on being imposed. Does it make sense? Sorry, yeah?
Right. Well, why use the Yerushalmi to tell you that the standard is kares? Why use the Yerushalmi to tell you the standard is mitzvahs bezd for mamzeris?
Right. In other words, since the case it mentioned there in Arias is a case of Eshasav, which comes I say to give you death. So why is that mentioned? That's one of the criteria that the death penalty is the problem. So it says I'm Rabbi Yisrael Chanir Malcolm Shiatus Avodah Zarah L'Lamed Al Chayav Krisus. In the case where Avodah Zarah was used in order to teach us things about people who chayav kares lo yatsa, it should be ma el kares bilvad. So there, very interesting concept, where you have the concept of Avodah Zarah mentioned in the context of a chatos, It only mentions the avodah zarah as a kores avera. It doesn't mention there the death of the individual who serves avodah zarah. It's true, we know that the person who serves avodah zarah gets put to death, but it doesn't say there that parsha. Okay, so therefore in that parsha it doesn't say that. So therefore we would say that the parameter of chatos is the parameter of the punishment mentioned there, which is only kores. Obviously, the shogeg is
not chorus.
Right, but even the case which you would get penalized for is mentioned as being
maybe chorus is for if you didn't have hasra. Is that possible? In other words, if there's hasra, then you get misa. You get skila. If there's no hasra, but you did it b'mezid.
Yeah, but that's what the Gemara is trying to say here. We're trying to say a different kind of principle. More is teaching us that if the Torah could have gone up to a higher level of punishment, and instead it keeps the lower level of punishment, so obviously it's telling us about lower level of punishment. It's telling us lower level punishment is heinous enough, and therefore it creates mamzerus. Is that clear in a nutshell?
Yeah.
So that's just saying. Let's see inside here again. So it says, in a place where avodah zarah was set aside to teach us for what you bring a korban chatas, right? Lo yatsa, it should be lo yatsa ima ela kores bilvad. So the only thing which we learn out from there, vis-a-vis the korban, is that it should be kores. It should be
The only thing that's stated there is the din of kares by the avodah zarah, even though there is a din.
Right.
It's a spasm. So we're limiting ourselves as to the limit of the reason.
Right. If I wasn't in a fog, then I actually would be able to get that out. But you articulated it very well, which is that it's since the cutoff penalty mentioned in the parish of Chatas is one of kores. So even things which only hit the level of kores and don't hit the level of misas beistin, for them too you bring korbanos chatas, right? That's how we're learning out by that case, right? But if you want to learn about death penalties, you got to learn from elsewhere. Now, she tells Rabbi Yisrael it's contrary to Rabbi Tama Yolif Lami Klola. There he learns out from a klab, but here he learns out from the prat. Now, by that we mean that Rabbi Yosef Rechanina said before, where is case we went after the cloud before? Yeah.
About the shkotzim and the mosa.
Yeah, what's more than one second? Yeah. The question's like this. All right, I'll take the dramatic step of standing up and see. The question is like this. The question is that before in the parish of Arayas we said the word the parish as the sister came to be singled out to teach us that there's mamzeres from Chayav Krisis. Right? So we learn that from the prat here, right? Well, I'm sorry. We learn that from the klal. Because the klal is Chayav Krisis. Actually, you don't learn that from your sister, you learn that from your father's wife, right? From Eishasav. So the prat is Chayav Misa. B'dei shebidei Adam. It's Chayav Misa and Beis Din. The klal is Chayav Krisus. So we learn out the parameters of Mamzeros from the klal, from the totality of Arayas. Right? By Karbonos, however, when we're trying to define what Korban we bring Chatas on, we learn it out from not from the klal, because over there the klal is ambiguous, right? We don't know from the klal what the parameters are, just so it's chait. But we learn out from the prat. What's the prat over there? The prat is avodah zarah, and that even only very specific type of avodah zarah, because the Torah limited to avodah zarah, which is kares, not avodah zarah beyond there. So in one case, we're from the generality, which is krisus. The other case, we're learning from the specification, which is also krisus. Okay, which is one case of krisus vis-a-vis mamzeros, the chayav kares is the benchmark. In the other case, we learn out from the level of kares what you bring a chatos for. So which one is it? Do we learn from the klal or do we learn from the prat? So it says more Tam, it's 4 lines before the Mishnah. Tam anichlu should be kol haveros lekarba. There it says, and all base bring a karba. Well, we do not know their parameter. The parameter doesn't exist because everything else in the klal is too general. It just says if you sin, bring a karba. But what kind of sin? So they were perforce required to look at the prat to define for us for what you're bringing carbon, right? Should we again? So Avodah Zarah comes to teach us on what you're mechayev the carbon. So we need the prat. However, but here all our rayas together, linked for mamzer. No, what are they all linked for? Krisus. The generality of Yisuria Rice mentioned in Parashas Achrei Mos Kedoshim are generally speaking about Chayav Krisus, things of which he requires. That's the overwhelming majority of them, right? So therefore, here Nachal Nichalu Ka Rice L'Mein Mamzer Yotza Eishes Av L'Lamed Mamzer. So therefore, since the klal already defined a common denominator between all these cases, because remember, including Misa B'dei Shamayim is also kares. So therefore, since the common denominator has already been assumed or understood, so therefore, all we need is to tell us that this concept of mamzerus, and once we have an extra pasuk in one of the areas tells the concept of mamzerus, we apply the klal's parameters to that. I don't know if I made myself clear on that, but I certainly made myself clear that if I was sitting down. Let me try one more time. That if, in the case where I already have the level determined by the generality, the specification just comes to tell us what the new halacha is in which to apply that. So the generality by Arayis is kares. The unique case of Eishasav comes to tell us there's mamzeris if you don't adhere to the laws of kares, laws of Arayis. By Karbanos, however, the generality does nothing to tell me the parameters, right? All it tells us is an Aveira being a Karban. So there, how am I going to find out what kind of Aveira? The only way to find it is by looking at the specification and see that the specification there, even though it's Avodah Zarah, is uniquely Avodah Zarah for which you only chayav Kares, not Avodah Zarah for which you're chayav Misa B'dei Shamayim. So the parameters of Karban learn from the specification vis-a-vis the generality by the case of Avodah Zarah, right? The case of Mamzer there, since the generality already have a common denominator, so that's where there serves as a basis for what comes later on. Okay, how we learn Mamzer.
Which Avodah Zarah is Chayav Kares and which Avodah Zarah is Chayav?
They're all Chayav Misa. It's like Shabbos. You're going to be Chayav Misa on Shabbos and Chayav Kares on Shabbos. Explaining what the Asra was, what the intent was, the situation. So the same is true by Karbanos. Okay? Ishto Shemeso. If your wife died, Mutar Choslat to marry your sister. Gir Shemeso. If you divorced and then she died, Mutar Choslat to marry your sister. This is La'achar Mesa, if she married somebody else and then she died, with a choslat to marry her sister. Yivamto Shemesa, if your Yivamo dies, Mutar Ba'achoseo, Ba'achoslat to marry her sister. Cholatzlo Mesa. If you did Chalitza to her, then she died. So, Mutter Bachol. So he's also not married sister. Lises Lacher Umesa. She married somebody else, and then she died. Mutter Bachol Isa. He allowed to marry his sister, right? Ima Aser. But always heard about sisters, not mothers. Lokem Rav Yaakov Bar Acham Shemelezer Shemeisa Shemeisa Mutar Bimo. What about the found to marry? He dies allowed to marry her mother. So says Umar Tavulam Rav and begin the Tanina Cholatzlo Mesa Mutar Ba'choisa. When it says that after Chalitza and death, you're allowed to marry her sister. But Amma Asur as opposed to Abima Asur as opposed to the mother, which is forbidden. Okay, that's what we learned, the sister and not the mother, right? So, because the mother is not mutter all the time. Okay, the sister goes mutter all the time, but the mother doesn't always become mutter, such as the case we did Chalitza, and then she died. You're allowed to marry the sister. That's not true if it was the mother, so therefore we talk about sister more than mother. Okay? Hadra Chol Tzvimto. Let's go a little further. Rangami Omer. Ain't get achaget. Velo. The whole Masechta?
No, this whole
okay, Rangami Omer ain't get achaget. Velo me'amar achamaimer. Now this is talking about where there are two Yevamas. There's no get after get. In other words, if you gave a get to the one, you can't give a get to the other. Nor can you do mimer to one after the other. Well, bilachim, nor can you do bil one after the other. Well, chalitza, and a chalitza one after the other. There is get after get, and it causes you all sorts of headaches. Bachar mimer, and after mimer as well. But this far we grant, not after Be'ila, not after Chalitza, there's nothing left after that. Okay, what do we mean by this? Yevamo Yevo Aleha. So, Yerushalmi sounds like it's everything out from Sugim, even though the Bobby learns a lot of this is just Rabbanos. But the Yerushalmi learns mostly the Rises. Yevamo Yevo Aleha, Biyaz, Zubiyah. V'kachalo Lisha, take wife Zumaimer. Yochel Kishem Shabia Goimer Ba Kachia Maimer Goimer Ba Kachia Maimer, maybe just like Bia is complete acquisition Yevama, to come to fruition in complete evil. Now next slide is messed up. I'm going to change it to what it says on Testament base, so the identical Gemara. Bia Gomeres Ba Vena Maimer Goimer Ba. Bia completes the process, Maimer does not complete the process, right? He came out here about Maimer, so what does Maimer do? Makes life more difficult. We like that in Judaism. To make her forbidden for their brothers. Rabbi Shimon Omer, famous Shita, Rabbi Shimon we had already before. I know what it does, says Rabbi Shimon, but it either works all the way, it doesn't work at all. My time, Rabbi Shimon, what's allowed to Rabbi Shimon Yevamo, the Yavam should have relations with her as Abiyah. Take her as an acquisition, that's Maimer. From that perspective, just like Bia completes the process, Kacha Maimer Goimer, so too Maimer completes the process. Oh, however, you can read it differently. We say that means one long run-on sentence, not two separate possibilities. Yevama should have related, and that way she's acquired. Maimer lo yoklum, which case Maimer doesn't work at all. It's a complete and total acquisition by Yevama. My time, Rabbi Lozer ben Aruch, what's his logic? She should be taken from him for a rival. It's like a marriage. It's a complete kinyan. So too, Maimer is complete kinyan. Okay, so there are three possibilities. Either Maimer is a quasi, that's Rabbanan, or, according to Rabbi Shimon, either Maimer works completely or it doesn't work at all, Or, Mimer is equivalent to Bia. Same thing, okay? Got my second win now. Okay, so let's go on. So it says, A's a Mimer. How do you do Mimer Bia Bama? Good practical question, right? Hared Mekudesh is Liebe Kesef Ushava Kesef. Just like regular marriage, right? Marriage means with money or the equivalent of money.
Myra is a rabbinical invention. So
No. You bring wine has been poisoned by art school.
Right.
Okay, only according to the Bavli is a rabbinical invention.
Oh.
According to the Yerushalmi, it's a Torah invention.
Oh, okay.
Or it's a possibility this to be a Torah invention. Says the Gemara, Kamad Rabbanin Amin. Now we make props. Kamad Rabbanin Amin. HaMaimer Kodim Shir. Just so Rabbanin say, Maimer is a partial acquisition, acquires and leaves over. Kainenu Ramitza, they said, Haget Poiter Mishayir. Now we meet a new klutz. Klutz number 692. This is a guy who gave his Yevama a get. Didn't do chalitza to her, didn't do yibum to her, he didn't do maimer to her, he just gave her a get. A get. Okay? Don't try and think that he has any brains. That will mess up the scenario. Very important.
So does that have, is it
so that's going to cause us problems, right? Says the Gemara, Mimer works and leaves over. Get poter mishayir. Get works partially. Oh, big headache. Means if you have two Yevamas, you give one a get, you're not rid of the other one yet. You chalitza the first one, be rid of the other one, right? You did bia to one, you'd be probably rid of the other one. But if you do get to one, you're not rid of the other one yet. So still do something for her as well, right? Says the Gemara. Wait, let's make get work completely be a forma. Let me present you some chomer. If a regular wife, where chalitza doesn't work, have get poiter ba, get who does work. Yevama shechalitza poteres ba, yevama chalitza does work. Enodin she get poiter ba should not kavachomer get certainly work by her. Tam lomru chotza. That's how it exerts the cost. It says chotza. Chalitza any teres, only permitted chalitza any teres beget. Only chalitza non get. Says the Gemara. Below tiftar ba klum. If that's the case, let nothing work. I forgot what the question is. Yeah, how do we know the get works at all? In other words, if you hold that get doesn't work because it says chalitza, so how does get work partially? So it's more no. I got a drosha for that. A very strange drosha, but it's got a drosha. See if it says veloci eishes lizar. It says that the Yevama should not be too far man. Manakim, it would say about, well, first I should throw a line. It would say about before Yibum, that's obvious. She's waiting for Yibum. So, but say about, Manakim, you should say about, but she already had relations with him. Ishto, she's already his wife. You can't call her Yevama, right? If on the other hand she did chalitza, of course of course you go marry somebody else. So either she can or cannot marry, but what's this case? This additional pasuk of lo sieh lish zor. Okay, I'm slow about the final case. B'shenasa lo get, he gave her a get, and the Torah says she shouldn't go out, but she still is not married. She's in limbo. The Tani Chizkiya get, okay, and Chizkiya also taught us, Minayin Lenoisa get, Yevim to Arnav, somebody gives a get to his Yevama, she asura Allah ve'alachi, she's forbidden to him and to the brothers, and to everybody else as well. She's forbidden to everybody. She's mamish up the creek without the proverbial paddle. Right? So he uses a different pasuk. He goes to the Parashat Torah, which talks about where you divorce a woman and she comes back, marries somebody else, and then she wants to come back to you. So Chizkiya taught, Minayli Yosef Getri Asura Alabachi, she's forbidden on him and her brothers. Etzani Korasher Shilach. She's called the woman who's been sent away. She can't be taken back. Eitzachina Nikore Asher Shilcha. By the brothers, they say somebody else sent her away, so she's not mutter to him. They're not mutter to this woman's not mutter to them. In other words, this woman is not mutter to the Yevamos even after she gets a divorce from one of them. Says the Gemara, Minay Lenoisen get even though she has surah law. Just but Tati Chalitza Be. Let's do the opposite now. Tati Chalitza Be should be Kishu Kav Chomer. Let Chalitza work by a wife from Kav Chomer. Imayim Yevamos Sheimba Gisham get Poitava. If Yevamos where the get does work. Chalitza Poitava. Chalitza does work. Isha shall get Poitava. A woman will get work. Say no din shall they Chalitza Boteres law. Should Chalitza work for her? No, Tamulomar because I'm saying Kriza says you should write for a book of divorce. Beketu Niteres. She's only redeemed by divorce. She's not redeemed by Chalitza. Says the Gemara, let Chalitza do a shiur. By let Chalitza partially mess up the marriage. If get messes up all completely, let Chalitza do partially. This one can't say it either. Tom, and here I have an excuse to say that. This wacky svara I can say by our scenario, because here it says about our scenario, lo si'eshes hazor. Lo si'elishzor, right? It shouldn't be too far man, so I have an extra plus to create the state of limbo, right? Of mimer or whatever it is. When on the way into marriage, what's your perspective that you can create there a state of limbo? So you don't have the apostle which teaches us to create one, so therefore you should not create one. Okay, speaking of not creating one, we'll stop here for tonight. It's a logical stopping point. We'll scrimp together almost to what. That'll do.